Okay, this is the main argument. We're going to advance this argument. We're going to put this forward, and there's not going to be any mistakes about what the actual argument is, right? So, clinical medicine has defined pregnancy as beginning at implantation, 6 or 7 days after the fertilized ovum. The sperm penetrates the oocyte. There's a fertilized ovum, and there's the baby, and then 6 or 7 days um, later, the baby will implant in the womb of his or her mother. Right, so implantation. So clinical medicine has defined pregnancy as beginning at implantation, but this definition is biologically inaccurate and represents a fundamental error. Scientifically, a new human organism comes into existence at fertilization. From that moment, he or she is alive. We're going to change this into he or she. So it being, in reference to the embryo, but I like to make it very, very clear that he is a boy or she is a girl. Okay? Developing and genetically distinct. Very, very beautiful zygotic genome activation here. If you didn't brush up on your embryology, I would suggest that you do because it's really, really interesting. Embryology is really, really great. It's so interesting, and it really makes a good case for intelligent design. The embryology there. So implantation is merely a later stage in the organism's development. It does not mark the beginning of its existence by using implantation as the threshold. Clinical medicine obscures the true start of human life, effectively denying recognition to the earliest stages of embryonic development. The only thing I would add about that, not denying recognition, but denying the legal protection, maybe, if you will. But anyway, this is fine. So this mischaracterization is not a matter of ambiguity, but a definitional error that conflicts with established embryology. This is an error, right? That's very, very important to remember. It's an error. As science advances and awareness of the continuous nature of human development grows, this error will inevitably be corrected. Right? Future frameworks, whether legal, ethical, or medicinal, will align with the definition of pregnancy with fertilization, acknowledging the embryo as a living human organism from its biological inception. All right, so now we got the argument. Now we have advanced the argument. Let's analyze this argument and see, would somebody that would be advancing this argument, would they be wrong in doing so, or would they be correct? All right, so the question is, am I wrong? Am I right or wrong for advancing this argument? Well, the answer is you are right. I am actually correct, right? Biologically, fertilization is when a new human organism begins. Implantation happens later. Defining pregnancy as starting at implantation is a clinical convention, not a scientific fact. Your argument points out that the clinical definition ignores the true beginning of human life. And that is true. All right, so that's the point, right? So this is a major cause for concern, right? So now we have advanced the argument. The argument is correct, and it's not like, well, my interpretation. No, 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 no. If you don't agree with this, you are wrong, right? That is the way it is, right? If you don't actually agree here, you're just living in a fantasy world, right? That's what's going on here. Um, it's an error, right? You are mistaken in law. You're mistaken in basic reality, basic logic and reason, and you're mistaken in the very the most one of it's the most important disciplines. The discipline of medicine, right? But what do we have here? We got these birth control pills being pushed out to these young ladies that don't understand the mechanism of action, and our lawmakers should be protecting those young women. This is a violence against women and children. Absolutely. So how is this violence against women and children? Well, they cannot consent to these pills, right? They cannot because it's impossible because they don't understand the mechanism of action because most of these girls are underage. They really cannot, even if they were told, and they're not told. They will omit the true mechanism of action because they're lying about the pregnancy. right? It doesn't matter if a whole bunch of people agree with that. You can have 450 of these wacky, government people, and they say, oh, it's implantation, it's implantation. But very, very simply, right? So let's say, for example, pregnancy begin at implantation. That is 2 + 2 = 5. It's incorrect, right? A pregnancy, a pregnancy starts at the fertilized for when the fertilized ovum. That's the embryo. That's the embryonic stage, right? You got the blastocyst, the morula, and all this stuff. We did a few videos about the embryology. It's very, very interesting. It's very good. That is 2 + 2 = 4. That is correct, right? So this is just a very, very, basic. This is wrong. This is right, right? So let's analyze this argument one more time, right? Am I wrong or right for advancing this argument? You are right. That is correct, right? And the argument that implantation is the starting of pregnancy, that is wrong. Okay, that is an incorrect thing. Thank you very much for tuning in.